Hello again, everyone. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, I call it teetering because that's exactly how it feels right now with the stock market. We had a pretty big down day on Friday. The Dow was down over 600 points, at one point well over 700 points. S&P was down 75.84 on Friday. You know, it was bouncing a little bit when the Federal Reserve was talking. Chairman Powell was speaking out at Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And then China announced their retaliation, and the market just fell out of bed. And then, of course, after the market closed, Trump announced his retaliation to their retaliation. So the trade war just continues to escalate. And when I look at several of the indices, the Elliott Wave count that we have, shows that we're in like a wave 3 of a wave 3 of a wave 3. So we're in that point where the selling can really accelerate. We'll see what happens Sunday and into Monday. Let's take a look in here. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Okay, so this is the S&P. Clearly, we've had a little bit of this zigzaggy ABC type of sideways move in here over the last couple of weeks since that August 5th move to the downside. Here's the weekly view. Now, this chart pattern is probably going to look familiar to many of you. It's a broadening top. Some people call it a megaphone. And I think it's a legitimate pattern. I mean, we'll see if it fulfills itself. It's not considered to be that the top is in until you get down below this low right here, this point right here. So we'll see if this continues to sell off like it did in October into November. This is a weekly view. If you're ever wondering what time frame I'm on, just look right down here at the bottom and you'll see. Okay, right now it says 1 week. Okay, so we're down 41.57 for the week. The third week after we broke that trend line, that first week of August. And, you know, we had a similar type of activity back here in the fall. We'll see if we continue to get follow through. On the indicators, we're showing bearish divergence on the RSI. We're showing bearish divergence on DI+, which is the directional indicator. The green indicates the buying pressure in here. Okay, so that's the picture there on what I call my moving average view. Okay, let's take a look at the Elliott Wave picture. And the preferred count that I'm working is that we're working a large flat. Okay, there is another corrective scenario that we've got. And I'm talking about a flat, a big A, B, C. Elliott Wave, it's 3, 3, and then 5 waves to the downside. So if we're working 5 waves to the downside, it looks to me like we've got 1 complete and very good chance we've got 2 complete. We're going to find out this week. We continue to get the selling and we take out these lows dramatically, then I think that it's pretty well confirmed that this wave 2 is done, okay? And that we're in a wave 3 to the downside. And yes, I do have the wave picture going into an hourly, 30-minute, it doesn't matter. You know, we have it broken down. I share it with my insider members every day. So this is the view we got. Let me go back to the daily. And let me look at the alternate view that we've got is that we have this big, large, expanding triangle, okay? And that in this view, wave 3 ended in January 2018. We have a series of 3, 3, 3, 3. And in this case, instead of 5 waves, we'd be looking for 3 waves to the downside. So what's the difference in here? So what I've noted, what got my attention is that maybe what we're doing is that we had a little 5 wave A, B. The only problem with this is it makes a very large C wave to complete this pattern. So that's the little negative I see. But this B wave, you're looking at it going, oh, Joe, what's the B wave? What could that be? What are you talking about? Well, what we're doing is that it could be a triangle pattern in here. Okay? We're talking about this type of a sideways triangles. In Elliott Wave, triangles only occur in B waves or 4th waves. Okay, so right now, here we have, so this is not a 4th wave. There's no way this is a 4th wave. So then I looked at it and said, well, maybe we've got a B wave. Well, that would fit a pattern where we're looking for 3 waves to the downside, but then it would also imply we're going to have a huge 3rd C wave. And it would also mean that we're going to get a bounce, like maybe this coming week. Okay, so we'll see, to get this this fifth wave to complete itself. Now, that's why I said if we continue to sell off down in here, then it pretty much invalidates this little pattern that we've got in here on this scenario. So we've got a couple of legitimate scenarios. Right now, I'm sticking with this one as my preferred count, looking for 5 waves to the downside. All right, let's take a look at one of the indicators we look at, the percent of stocks of the S&P 500 that are over their 50-day moving average. So here's the way I've got this set up, okay? So, again, it ranges between 0 and 100 because we're talking about percent of stocks. Okay, so the red or the green down here is at the 20 level. This bar line here is at the 30 level. This is at the 70 level, and this is at the 80 level. So what's interesting about this is it does show divergences. So in April, the stock market punched to new highs. This did not confirm. In July, it punched to new highs. The market did again. This did not confirm. Okay, and so you could talk about levels of oversold, overbought, etc. Look how oversold it got back in October and December. So right now, here we are back down in this zone in here. The other thing I noticed about this is we did punch below that June low in the move that we had on August 5th. So this is showing more weakness in here with this whole move to the downside. And then the pattern in here is pretty much kind of imaging what's going on with the SPX. So we'll see if that continues or not. Let's take a look at the high yield bond fund. HYG was throwing me a little bit of a curve earlier in the week. It kept pushing and pushing, and the stock market wasn't mirroring this, okay? So HYG kept saying, animal spirits, investors are looking for risk on, okay? The market should be pushing higher. Well, it got up to this trend line I had drawn during the middle of the week, and it got up there, and on Friday, it came right to it, and then it actually punched a little bit higher than it. I remember looking at it, and it was right at it, and I thought, well, what's it going to do? And then sure enough, it punched a little bit through it, and then look at the big reversal that happened with the sell-off in the market. So this is a very bearish-looking reversal candle. But just like with every reversal candle that you see, you need follow-through to validate that that truly is a reversal candle. Okay, so right now, this is looking pretty bearish. It looks like it wants to, continue pushing to the downside in here. So we'll see if that happens. Let's take a look at copper. United States copper, CPER ETF. Okay, so this is a weekly chart. You can see that down here. Look at the support that's in here. Look at this support. And we just closed on Friday below that support level. So this is showing some pretty significant weakness. I think it's reflecting what's going on in the global economy. I don't think that's a very good picture in terms of the implications for what the heck is going on. And here's the lows. To me, we continue to break down out of this. It's going to be coming down into these lows for 2016 at a minimum. So it'll be interesting to see and continuing to monitor this as one of the macro type of indicators. Let's take a look at what's happening in Brazil. We know the Amazon's on fire, but what's going on with their stock market? Okay, here's what's going on a daily chart. Okay, the moving average view, it's clearly in a short-term trend to the downside in here. It was down $1.40, this ETF on Friday. It's pretty strong downtrend. And remember, when Argentina dropped 50% in a day, that had a pretty negative effect over here on Brazil. It's like all the neighbors got, kind of jittery and had rippling effect through their markets too. But let's take a look at the weekly view of what's going on in here. And I want to go to the Elliott Wave picture that I've got, and we're going to zoom back out. And here's what I think is happening. I've kind of modified this view. This blow off top happened back in May of 2008. That's when all the commodities were just blowing off. Oil was, May, June, oil was $150 a barrel. Okay, and then I always felt like we had this big 3-wave move corrective pattern. And at first I thought we were off in some new big impulsive wave structure. And we were going to, break on out of this, corrective pattern here. But I think it was a little bit of a fake out. And the reason why I'm thinking that is because of this move that happened, get this out of the way, right here. And again, this is a weekly view. 5-wave move to the downside. Okay, so 5 waves tells you the direction, the intermediate direction that this market wants to go in. So this is telling me that it wants to come in this way, this direction, and then we got this counter trend B wave. So right now I am looking for more downside out of Brazil and for this to continue to sell off. Now, what are we going to be looking for as keys that scenario is playing out? Well, number one, we're right at this trend line. Okay, in here we break that, then we got this flatter trend line. We break that, I think selling is really going to accelerate in here. Now, it may take weeks for this to play out, but that's the picture that we've got right now on the Brazil ETF EWZ. This is a very heavily traded ETF. The average on this, let's see, let me go back to the daily and I'll tell you what the average daily volume is. The average daily volume is 28.8 million shares in here. And I think that's just using a 20-day moving average in here. So pretty heavily traded. All right, that's it for this weekend. If you felt like the video was helpful, hit the thumbs up. And if you'd like more of this kind of information, head on over to joehenches.net and check out the membership. Everyone have a wonderful weekend and upcoming week. We'll see. It's Sunday night into Monday could get pretty exciting. All right, talk to you then.